friends, do you want to learn how to make sugar cookie macarons? They're gluten-free, they taste delicious, and they're very simple to make. This is beginner-friendly recipe, and I know you guys gonna like it. You will be impressed with the texture and the taste of the sugar cookie macarons. Hello friends, my name is Marina. I'm the person behind Everything Marina food blog. Right here we bake macarons and other desserts. Holiday season, what are we doing today? We're baking sugar cookies macarons. They're gonna be 100% gluten-free. If you're ready, let's get started. I wanna make this video very short. It's gonna be a few parts, as always. We need to bake macaron shells, then we're gonna make filling, then we're gonna assemble macarons, decorate, and we can enjoy them later. All right, let's get started and let's talk about ingredients and tools. I have all my tools behind me and I'll be taking and showing you and explaining why we need. Ingredients. We need almond flour. Make sure it's almond flour and it's not almond meal. We need powdered sugar and white granulated sugar. I use the same brand. It's from Domino. Egg whites. I'm not aging egg whites, so just regular egg whites, room temperature. Then, because it's sugar cookies, they're usually white, right? So we're gonna make white macarons. And you don't have to use any food coloring, but if you want that pure white macarons, maybe you can decorate them with the different decor if you want, because it's winter and everybody wants to make white macarons. I have separate video how to make white macarons, but in this video I want to also touch a little bit if you want to make the sugar cookies macarons white. So what we're using? We're using gel food coloring. It's violet. I'm using from Chef Master. This is my secret ingredient. You don't have to use if you don't want any food coloring, just leave it plain. Another ingredient is totally optional, sprinkles. You can decorate the sprinkles before baking or you can decorate after baking. It's all up to you. And of course, you can use your favorite sprinkles. There are so many on the market. Use your favorite, any sprinkles you want. Like you making sugar cookies, how you want to decorate, what kind of sprinkles you're going to use, it's all up to you. All right, so these are two optional ingredients. Next, we're using KitchenAid mixer. We're gonna use whisk attachment, and I'm also gonna be using pedal attachment because you know holidays and there is a lot of baking and I don't wanna hurt my arm, to be honest. If you don't want to use pedal attachment, use spatula and fold the macaronage. Few things we're going to be doing. First, we need to sift dry ingredients, powdered sugar and almond flour. And I'm sifting in a separate mixing bowl and I'm sifting all together. I've seen bakers doing separate, but I don't see the point why I need to waste my time and sift it separate and then add to meringue. I'm not wasting time, and I know some bakers don't even sift. So in a mixing bowl, I'm gonna sift dry ingredients. It's almond flour and powdered sugar. And I'm usually doing this while I'm making French meringue, but I just wanna show you. It makes really big difference if you sift. I'm using Blue Diamond almond flour and I'm still sifting. There is some flours on the market that don't require sift, but right away, even if you sift just once, it will be more than enough. You know, the question I get sometimes from my followers, why my macarons are not smooth. And the first question I'm always asking, did you sift your dry ingredients? Oh no, I didn't. So there you go. You didn't sift, that's your result. All right, and I'm gonna continue this later off the camera, but right now, what are we doing? In a mixing bowl of stand mixer with the whisk attachment, we're gonna add egg whites. Egg whites at room temperature. All right, in a mixing bowl, we're gonna add egg whites, and we're gonna start on a low speed. And it all depends on your mixer. It could be 2 or 4. This is speed number 2. And we're gonna whip until we see that white foam. And then we're gonna start adding white sugar. We're not gonna dump all at once. We're just gonna add in a few parts. You can use a spoon if you like, but I just like to add from my mixing bowl. All right, when we see foam like this with the egg whites, then we start adding white granulated sugar. Slowly, we're adding sugar. See, that's it. And what we're doing next, we're setting up timer for 15 minutes and going to have a cup of coffee. All right, 15 minutes up. My meringue is ready. If you want to see. See how stable is this meringue? Very shiny, beautiful white color. Right here in the mixing bowl with the French meringue, I'm gonna add dry ingredients. It's almond flour and powdered sugar. Switching to pedal attachment right now. And on a low speed, I'm gonna whip for a few seconds. Just 1, 2, 3, and stop. Not more. If you're beginner baking, I would just recommend use spatula and fold. But because it's holidays, I don't wanna hurt my arm. And stop. And stop. And you always looking in the mixing bowl. See, right now, that's the consistency. And at this moment, I will be adding just a little bit of coloring. And I'm gonna be using toothpick. You put right here. Just for a few seconds. Because I don't wanna overmix. Then I'm using spatula. And I'm cleaning this pedal attachment. And I continue folding butter until the right consistency to pipe macaron shells. All right, that's what I have in my mixing bowl, using spatula, and start folding butter. If you want to add food coloring, please do right now, the gel food coloring or right in your French meringue. But at this stage right now, I will just add gel food coloring, not powder, because we want a nice color. And look at the consistency of the macaronage. You see, I use pedal attachment and I just finishing with the spatula, and it's not gonna hurt my arms. I think this is right consistency. I have prepared Wilton 12 piping tip, large pastry bag, and I'm using pitcher to hold this pastry bag. Transferring macaronage into pastry bag. In a pastry bag, macaronage. All right, macaronage in a pastry bag. What are we doing next? We're going to be piping macaron shells. I have prepared 2 baking sheet pans and baking mat. I'm using Silpot. It's already have template. I love it. And pipe. I'm applying pressure and I'm stopping and I'm making kind of like a dot. And follow the template, because we need macaron shells the same size. You see, stop. It's very, if I'm doing too fast, that means I already baked so many batches. If you're a beginner, it all comes with the practice. See? Straight, pipe, and stop. What I'm doing next, that's my trick that I'm sharing. I'm doing wave to release any air bubbles and make these macaron shells very smooth. Have to be very careful here and not to fold this baking mat, right? Just a few waves. If you don't want to do this wave, if you may be using parchment paper, then I would recommend you to use baking tray. You place this mat or parchment paper and you can pipe straight on a baking mat and you just tap the tray, just like this. All right? Or you can place a towel, for example, on a table, just like this, and tap the tray. Don't forget to rotate. All right, this is my first batch. And bake just like that, or we can add just a little bit sprinkles. Just make sure your sprinkles are not burning and they're not gonna get runny or maybe make colors. This is very simple one, and this is white and red, and I thought it will be really cute for holiday. Don't forget, this is sugar cookies macarons. So you can use any of your favorite sprinkles. Just sprinkle half of macaron shells because I will be using this shell on top, and the bottom one will be without any sprinkles. It's all up to you. I just like to do that. All right, I pipe all my macaron shells. Now I'm gonna let it dry them on a countertop. And I'm preheating oven to 300 Fahrenheit. It's a gas oven, and I will be baking for 14 to 16 minutes. It all depends on your oven, the temperature and time, of course. But my oven, gas oven, 300 Fahrenheit for 14 minutes. And we're baking sugar cookies macarons. Look how cute they are. White with the little sprinkles on top. Next step, we're going to be making filling. Let's make filling for the sugar cookies macarons. You will be impressed and you're gonna love it. I promise you, you're gonna love it. Let's talk about ingredients. We're making sugar cookies filling for macarons. And you know, before even just getting into that recipe, I am looking not just for taste sugar, because obviously we can make ganache, we can make buttercream, American buttercream, but I feel like it's not going to be the same texture when I'm looking in my sugar cookies macarons. So I decided to make this almond buttercream. If you're not familiar with the almond buttercream, it's something similar to Swiss buttercream, but it's just made with the simpler ingredients and it's very easy to make. I feel like American buttercream for the sugar cookies macarons will be too sweet, and ganache, it's more expensive. Chocolate is very expensive right now, so why not to make something more affordable with a lot of flavor and their amazing texture. Very important, what I'm always making my macarons when I develop my recipes, I'm trying to use all gluten-free ingredients, because if you sell your macarons and you're saying they're gluten-free, you need to use all ingredients gluten-free, please, because you can make some people sick. If you, for example, if you're making Oreo macarons and you're gonna just use Oreo cookies on top or in a ganache, but Oreo cookies are not gluten-free, it really can hurt some people, so please. My sugar cookies macarons are gluten-free. Let's talk about ingredients. We need flour, and I'm using Bob's Red Mill gluten-free flour. I love this ingredient to use with my macarons. I use for flakes and some different recipes. Gluten-free flour. My macarons will be gluten-free 100%. If you're not making gluten-free macarons, please use all-purpose flour, something King Arthur, or make sure then you will know that your macarons are not gluten-free. Then we need white granulated sugar. We need milk, and I'm using whole milk. For more flavor, for richness, we use whole milk. Then we're gonna need butter. And I'm using unsalted butter. This one is Land O'Lakes. I like this specifically because the color of this butter is not that yellow like compared to other brands. And I still want my filling because I made white macarons and I want my filling to match. I don't want that yellow in my filling, so I'm using unsalted butter, Land O'Lakes. Try to use something lighter. Then we're gonna use vanilla extract, that's for flavor. And if you're using unsalted butter, I'm gonna add a little bit of pinch of salt, and this is baking salt. I'm using a lot in my ganaches, and I think for the flavor we need that pinch of salt just to lower a little bit sweetness of the filling. So vanilla extract and salt, it's totally optional if you like. Let's just start making this almond buttercream. This is gonna be filling for sugar cookies macarons. It's a little taking time, but the texture and taste exactly how sugar cookies macarons should taste. All right, in a saucepan, we're gonna add white granulated sugar. Then we're adding gluten-free flour. And I'm using whisk, we're mixing. I'm doing this because I'm trying to avoid any clumps. Now we're gonna add whole milk. Using whisk, I'm using sauce whisk, my favorite when I'm making ganaches, but you can use just your regular whisk if you like. All right, over medium heat. So in a saucepan, I have sugar, gluten-free flour. The whole process, just to bring this to boil, it takes 5 to maybe 6-7 minutes. And I'm whisking all the time, mixing. And if you're baking macarons, I would recommend start with this almond buttercream because we need some time to cool to room temperature before we're gonna be adding butter. And while it's cooling, you can bake macarons. All right, it's kind of getting thicker right now. It's kind of like a sauce consistency. That's why I told you to mix sugar with flour first and then add milk, because we don't want any clumps, right? See, right now it's getting thicker and thicker. And we just need to bring to boil. And then when it's start boiling, we're gonna lower the heat to low and cook for about 2 minutes because we need to make sure the flour cooked and we're looking for that kind of pudding consistency. See, that's what we have. Right, it started boiling. Yeah, I see bubbles, not on the side saucepan, but right in the middle. And I'm gonna lower the heat. Might look a little funny, but it's something similar than when I make laddu refilling. But this recipe doesn't have cornstarch, it's used gluten-free flour. But look, it's already shiny. The laddu refilling will be also good for sugar cookies, but it's just more expensive to make because it includes chocolate. We're making something more affordable and taste good. See, that's what I have, you see? It's thickening very fast. The pudding consistency, that's what we're looking. See? All right. And we're gonna turn off the heat. Removing whisk because we don't need it. We're gonna use spatula right now. See, that's the pudding. Like I said, it's something like laddu filling when we make with the cornstarch. And right now it's very hot. And we're gonna transfer this pudding into a flat container. And of course you can double this or triple recipe. It all depends how many macarons you're gonna make. I'm using this flat container. It's already kind of very thick, but we need to bring this to room temperature because we're gonna be mixing with the butter. Right now, I'm covering with the plastic wrap to contact. And we need to let it cool to room temperature. I'm just gonna cool it off on a countertop. You can make this filling, this pudding ahead of time and just place in the fridge overnight, for example. Just before you start mixing with the butter, make sure you bring to the room temperature. I'll show you next. Let's finish making the filling for macarons and assemble macarons. Pudding consistency base was in the fridge overnight, but now I brought to room temperature at the same time with the with unsalted butter. And right now we're just gonna finish making this almond buttercream. That's gonna be our filling for sugar cookie macarons. In the mixing bowl of stand mixer, we're gonna be using paddle attachment. We're gonna add butter, 1 cup, 2 sticks. That this way you don't have to measure. It's really fast to make. Using paddle attachment on a low speed, cream butter for about 1 to 2 minutes. Then slowly add this pudding consistency base. Just remove plastic wrap. You can use spatula and scrape the sides of the mixing bowl. Very important to have those 2 ingredients at the same room temperature. And right now we're gonna be adding into the mixing bowl about 1 tablespoon at a time and just continue mixing with the paddle attachment. Now at the same speed, we're gonna add this pudding consistency base. About 1 tablespoon at a time. If you wanna, you can use spoon. I'm just using this spatula. You guys can see this. Probably with a spoon will be easier, but I just don't have it right here. It's not that much. It's going to be enough just for 1 batch of macarons. I'm sure if you're making many macarons, you need to double this recipe or maybe even triple. Okay, just a few more spoons. Just want to show you. Right here, we can scrape the bowl. Make sure there is nothing on the sides and on the bottom, because we need this creamy, smooth consistency. We're gonna mix for about 2 minutes, and now we're gonna add a little bit of vanilla extract. Whoop. And we're gonna add a pinch of salt. That's for taste. It's totally optional, but I like to add a pinch of salt. 2 minutes, we need to make it fluffy, very creamy. I want to show you consistency of this almond buttercream. It's very soft, it's smooth. It really tastes like sugar cookies. And right now I'm gonna transfer into pastry bag, and I have my macarons already. And you can use round or Wilton 1M. star if you like. It's all up to you. And let's fill macarons. I decided to use Wilton 1M. I think it really looks good. I changed setting of my camera and let's fill. Using Wilton 1M. And you can put as much as you want this filling. Finish assembling them. I can't wait to try them. There you go. They really look like sugar cookies. Alright, macarons are assembled. Right now, we're gonna place all filled macarons in airtight container. And this recipe makes filling for one batch of macarons. All right, just have one more. Sprinkles. Don't forget to use cover. We need to place macarons into the fridge for 12 to 24 hours. Macarons need to mature before you can enjoy them. I hope you guys like this recipe, this sugar cookie macarons. Don't forget to leave any comments below this video or on my blog if you tried the recipe, or tag me on social media. I would love to see your creations. Thank you for watching and happy baking, everyone!